It's the Happy Families podcast. It's the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now.
I love Fridays. Hello, this is Dr. Justin Coulson, the author of a bunch of books about how to make your family happier. I'm here today with Kate Mead, who has joined me for a week of podcast fun. Kate, thanks for joining me for the final time this week. This has been such a treat to have you.
Oh, it's been fabulous and happy Friday. And don't worry, beautiful Kylie will be back again on Monday. So programming as normal.
Yeah, that's right. Now, I mean, it's been really great to be with you, but I am looking forward to being with my wife again. I think it's going to be...
I'm not offended by that at all.
I'm so glad. But this has been such a great week. I think that as we go through this move and make the transition to our new home, and I don't know, I mean, if Kylie's ever sick, or maybe if I'm sick, and maybe I'm going to catch COVID one day and we'll need a replacement. Maybe you can do the Happy Families podcast with Kylie. I'm nervous about that thought. So, Kate, every Friday on the Happy Families podcast, we do this thing called I'll Do Better Tomorrow. The idea is that we reflect on the week that was and we consider what we've done well or maybe what we haven't. It's about being intentional and reflective and thinking, how can I learn from this week and my involvement with my family this week to make tomorrow or next week better? It's our favourite segment, and I'd love to know, is there anything that really strikes you about what you could do better tomorrow based on either what you nailed this week or perhaps what you didn't get quite so right?
Well, this one for me is something that I think I'm still processing, in that I guess it's about thinking about what can I do so I don't get to this point again. But this summer holidays seems to have had some challenges in the Mead household. We've had a child test positive with COVID. There's been the isolation that goes with it. There's been events on and off and not being able to catch up with family. That's my Victorian experience. But this week, Justin, I had to have a mum-cation. You've heard about a mum-cation?
Yeah. I'm an advocate of having a mum getaway, a mum-cation, whatever you want to call it. I think that we downplay or underplay the incredible mental load, not to mention the physical load that mums carry in homes. Research tells us really clearly that they carry an enormously disproportionate load in most homes, even if we're not following the traditional patterns of division of labour. Mums do tend to carry the cognitive load. So tell me about your mum-cation.
I booked a little hotel in Melbourne, ordered the big bed with the room with the view, and I got there early and I read a book, and then I had a nap, and then I had a bath, and then I hopped back in the bed and I put the TV on, and then I turned the TV off because it was, who needs a TV on? And it was just peace. And if I reflect on this week of sharing with you and discussing all things families, on episode 1, or which was Monday, I'd said to you, we've got a big family change coming up. I'm about to leave the home situation essentially in Victoria and move to Sydney, where I'll be doing the commuting backwards and forwards, and that's been a big decision. And so there was all this guilt. So not only am I about to leave.
Yeah, you're going to have a full-time mum-cation. You're right. Yeah. Nice work, Kate. You're doing very well here. Yeah.
But yeah.
No judgment. No judgment.
I come back happier.
Yeah.
I come back rested. Mm-hmm. And I come back ready to face whatever the family needs again. I guess it turned out to be pretty darn important.
Yeah, wow. And I think so last year Kylie went away for, I think it was for 7 days. And literally she was at a health retreat on the Gold Coast and had 7 days with not even any phone reception, not even any Wi-Fi, just 7 days to completely yoga and stretch and walk and sleep and eat food that was.
She went to paradise.
Yeah. It's actually, again, hashtag not sponsored. It's called Eden. Literally, it's called Eden Health Resort, and she came back and just was like, I feel so real, like reconnected, and just I feel like me again. It was so important. So I think that you should be able to do that. Maybe you're not going to do it every single week, and it's probably not practical for parents to be able to do that, whether they're mums or dads. But I think that it's really important that we we don't make a big deal of that and that we don't feel guilt around that. One of the things with self-care that I talk about all the time and that overwhelm is that quite often you'll take that time out for yourself, but the whole time you're gone, you're thinking, oh, gee, I feel so bad that I'm here and I know everyone's under so much pressure. And when I get back, I've got to do X and Y and Z as well as A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J and K. And you don't actually get to unwind. You don't get to have that restfulness. But it sounds like you might have really dialed that in. You might have really nailed that.
Yeah, I just can't escape the guilt. If I could get past the guilt bit, so I can understand it, I can nod and verbally tell you on a podcast, yes. If I could just organise that with my heart, that would be much better. That's all.
Yeah. So I'm going to give a little bit of Dr. Justin advice to every partner of a mum who needs to get away. And this is the point where as a partner, and I'm sure Tank would have done this for you, but if he didn't, he needs to hear it. This is the bit where you say, I want you to know that while you're gone, we're so excited for you. We've got it covered. We know what we're doing for dinner. We know that tomorrow morning's routine is already scheduled, and I've got the headspace for it. And even if in my case, even if I knew in my heart I didn't have the headspace for Kylie to go away, my job is to say, you go. I've absolutely got this, and you don't need to worry about a thing. You don't need to feel guilty. In fact, while you're there, why don't you order your favorite thing on the menu as well? Just do what you need to do, and when you've got a partner who can say, no need for guilt, I've got this, I reckon it'll make a huge difference. So I'm really glad you shared that one. Thank you. And I hope that inspires a whole lot of parents to try it. It's also nice to do a couples getaway every so often. Just putting it out there.
I haven't done one of those, but yes, please.
Yeah. So Kylie and I, we need to get to the break and do mine in a sec, but Kylie and I have at least a quarterly getaway as a couple. And we have found that what it does for our relationship is unspeakably amazing and just so critically important. So great to do it for yourself, great to do it as a couple. Not everybody can work out how to make their calendars work to do it all, but gee, it makes a difference. After the break, the things that I got right or wrong, I'll do better tomorrow.
It's the Happy Families Podcast.
For a happier family, try a Happy Families membership, because a happy family doesn't just happen. Details at happyfamilies.com.au.
It's the Happy Families Podcast, the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now, with Justin and Kate.
So I'll do better tomorrow is where we reflect on how we're doing or what we can do better. And you've shared an absolute ripper, Kate. I'm going to go in the other direction. During the week, I've been talking a couple of times about how my family's in the midst of a relocation, and Kylie and the kids have actually been here a bit and gone a bit, and I've been in charge of kind of getting the house ready for sale and doing a whole lot of packing and getting stuff out of the house so the house looks good so that we can sell it, because we couldn't possibly sell it the way it was looking before we got rid of all the stuff. And this is frustrating, and it's one of those things that as a parent I don't know if there's actually an answer, but I've found myself, and I hinted at this in yesterday's episode, I found myself consistently saying to the kids, not now. Can't you see that I'm busy? I'm not necessarily using those exact words. I'm certainly softer and more gentle with the kids, but essentially the message that they're getting is Dad hasn't got time. Everything else matters more, because I'm packing or I'm cleaning or I'm trying to get some work done, because I actually have a business to run as well. And these kids are on holidays and they're bored and they're frustrated, and all their toys have been taken away from them because they've gone into boxes so that we can make the house look good. And they're kind of just sitting there on their hands going, this is the worst. And then they'll go to Kylie, can I watch some TV? And Kylie say, well, there's nothing else for you to do. Okay. And then I'll walk into the house and say, I can't believe these kids are on screens again. And
round and round, we're round and round and round she goes.
So frustrating. And as I've been reflecting on it, I don't know if there's actually an answer, because, and maybe this is helpful for someone, and this is why I wanted to share it. Sometimes, and you want to make sure that it's not chronic. You want to make sure that it's not all the time, but sometimes there's simply nothing that you can do. The house has to be packed. The house has to be cleaned. The kids are on holidays. They can either help or they can watch TV or be bored. And they actually can't have me, and I can't have them. And it's breaking my heart. And I know that it's breaking them because I've heard them murmur and mumble and complain either to me or to Kylie about it. And I think when it comes to I'll do better tomorrow, sometimes the purpose of this segment is to say, here's my reflection and here's what I'll do differently. But the reality is I don't know what I'll do differently. I don't know that there is something I can do differently.
Do you say this to the kids? Have you said that to the kids? Like in this situation, like moving house is one of the most stressful things that we will go through as a family. Like this will be one of those big moments. Remember when we moved? Do you tell them about that? Are you talking to them through that? I mean, that's probably a very silly question for me to ask, but you're kind of at the, I can't fix this right now.
Yeah. So the correct answer to that, Kate Mead, radio announcer / radio producer / newfound parenting expert, is no. The parenting expert on this podcast actually hasn't, because the parenting expert on this podcast has been so damn busy packing boxes that he hasn't taken a breath to sit down and say, hey, kiddo, I know it's really hard. And it's really funny that you say that, because on reflection, I'm so caught up in all the stuff that I've got to do that. And Kylie may have done this because she's had a lot more time with the kids, but I haven't actually sat with the kids and said, I know it's hard because I'm not available and I know that I've got my head in a million places, but it's probably pretty hard for you too, isn't it? You want to tell me about how sad you are that we're leaving behind the home that we've loved, or that we're leaving behind the dog that we buried in the yard that we all loved so much, or that we're leaving behind our friends, or do you know what I mean? This is therapy for me, Kate. You're doing a great job.
We get so busy though, don't we, in the doing?
Yeah. So my I'll do better tomorrow is probably I need to pause a little bit, stop being so busy, but also acknowledge that sometimes we are so busy and sometimes there is just that much to do that there's not much we can do. But you've asked that question, unscripted, and reminded me that sometimes we actually do just need to pause, even if we can't do anything. Just pausing and listening is often enough. So that's my I'll do better tomorrow.
Well, it was perfect if you ask me. And Justin, while I have you, and to Kylie, thank you for a fabulous week. By gosh, it's been good fun and has me reflecting on my family and my situation, and yeah, it's just been a wonderful week. So thank you.
Well, it's been great to have you. I think that anyone who's listened to the podcast this week would agree that you've amply filled the role of Happy Families co-host, with Kylie being away in a wonderful way. And if the need arises again, we'd be glad to have you back.
And I would be honoured. Thank you, Justin.
Hey, have a great weekend, Kate, and everyone have a wonderful weekend. I hope you do get to spend some really high quality time with your family over the weekend, and that you're not doing what I'm doing and packing furniture removal boxes day in and day out. The Happy Families podcast, as always, is produced by Justin Rulon from Bridge Media. Craig Bruce is our executive producer. If you'd like more info about making your family happier, please visit happyfamilies.com.au.